Hey, what's up mga tol? This is Tall Fry and today we'll be taking a look at the Marvel Legends classic Doctor Strange.
At the front, we can see we got that nice window box packaging showing us what the set comes with. At the bottom, we have some Doctor Strange labels and the Doctor Strange logo at the very top. At the sides, we have some nice comic artwork of Doctor Strange himself, and at the back is the same artwork but in full, as well as a read-up. Go ahead and pause it if you want to read it now. Below that, you have some unimportant labels, and at the very bottom, we have some even more unimportant labels. So without any more talking, let's take a closer look at this figure. And here's Doctor Strange out of the packaging looking very colorful. Let's take a closer look. Taking a closer look at his head sculpt, I think it looks very classic comics, in a good way of course. It's kind of misleading when you compare it to the artwork on the box since that looked like a more modern and younger version of Strange. But this looks very swell. He has the gray streaks in his hair, which is very imperfectly painted, which might be an error, but I also kind of like it. Coloring in hair is never really perfect, especially if it's natural like Doctor Strange's. So I guess it works fine. And the face, yeah, he got that mustache. He doesn't have a beard, but not all versions of Doctor Strange have a beard, but they do always do have the mustache. And he's got that stern look down. The Eye of Agamotto was painted in a shinier metallic gold compared to the yellow parts of the Cloak of Levitation. And speaking of the cloak, I do like the colors, the red, the yellow. It is a different shade compared to, again, what's on the box, which can kind of be a little confusing, but as it is, I think it's still pretty eye-catching. I like how it has those carved in details in the cape itself, though as I've seen from other customizers, they did use a pen to fill in those gaps to make it stand out more. I might have to try doing that, or getting a custom cloak altogether, because honestly, while it does look cool, even the sculpt, it allows for the arms to go to the side and stuff, it doesn't get in the way of articulation all too much. I think it has a bit too much paint imperfections for me to be okay with. I never expect it to be perfect, but like there are just missing paint apps in some places and splotches on others. It kind of bothers me and takes me away from it a little bit, especially here on the head area. Some parts have yellow where there shouldn't be, and it just looks like a generally a bit too sloppy a job. Then again, most of it is still pretty okay, like especially when you look at it from afar, it's like, oh, that looks really nice. But when you zoom in up close, it's like, it could be a bit better. But aside from that, I like the Eye of Agamotto. Could have some black line work, but at this price range, it's alright. Then moving down, he has the blue garbs that he has, and it has that very distinct Doctor Strange symbol, which I like. Then he has the yellow sash. I love the yellow that they did use for the gloves and the black spots. That is very classic Doctor Strange costume. And then moving down, it's just black legs. I think they're pretty standard. They still have the pegs, so I think this is from an older body mold. And then the feet are those weirdly large, but I guess okay feet. And you have peg holes at the bottom of the feet. Now looking at articulation, that cloak might be big and you might think it might get in the way of the head, but I promise you it will not really. He does look up and down a good bunch. He is utilizing that ball hinge joint, by the way. He also has decent head tilt, and of course he can look around without that cape getting in the way. Since it is so big, it leaves enough space. As I said also earlier, the cape does leave ample room for his arms to move up for all those magic poses that you want him to do, but unfortunately only up to the 90 degrees. He also has shoulder swivel and elbow swivel, not bicep swivel. Single jointed elbows that go beyond 90 at the very least, and hinge and swivel at the wrists. It can feel a little bit loose though on this right one, I'm not sure why. In terms of torso crunch, he can go that much, which is pretty good, but backward I think will be hindered by that cape because it is a hard plastic. So yeah, there's not too much there. And his torso can also move around just like that. Kicking forward, he can go up a decent bunch. It's not the highest of highs. Weirdly enough, on this side, on his left side, he has a slit for articulation. But here, on the other side, he doesn't. So that's kind of confusing. I might have to balance that out by cutting it. I've seen others do that. So in terms of side, at least with the side with the slit, he can go that much. Back, not all that much anyway, since there is a cloak. Thigh swivel works great. Not too tight. Double jointed knees, so he can kinda kick his own butt almost. Shin swivel, wow, that's cool.
and working ankle hinge and rocker. I just like to bring this up. These legs may come from an older body mold, which is why they kind of feel gummy. When I just do this, it's like, oh, that's not as strong as I'd like it to be. And certain articulation points are looser, a bit looser than the others, but nothing too worrisome. I guess you can just apply some joint fixer on that. I just hope that these legs do not like snap or break on me at any time. But other than that, it still poses pretty fine. Taking a look at Strange's accessories now, I'm happy to say he does come with a good amount of them. It's not even considered a deluxe pack, and yet he comes with all this stuff. He comes with a right gripping hand and a left fist hand. Now, I'm not sure why they want to go with like the asymmetry on this figure's hands in general, because even in the normal magic using hands, this one on his left has like open magic hands, while the right one, the two fingers are stuck together. But anyway, it works nice. This gripping hand is obviously for any of the weapons that he comes with, and the fist hand is just a fist hand. Next, he has two alternate heads. One is his sleeping head, which I love so much. It's actually a different sculpt from the stock head that he comes with, and I like how they made the bangs flow down a little to add some variety to it. It's really nice, and it is also very versatile. Aside from meditation, you could be like he's knocked out or something. And here, the lesser of the two extra heads is this masked head, which I believe he'd use when he was still trying to hide his identity. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is just a Silver Surfer head painted blue. But it does have that nice shiny effect in the eyes, so yeah, that is there if you do want to recreate that. Then he has two magic effects, pretty simple. They go on his magic posing hands or whatever you can fit them in. They even have gaps in the rings so that you can squeeze whatever in there. And then for the two actual weapons that he has that are kind of magical, we first have this thing. I believe this is called the Wand of Watum. They added some line work actually in the shapes to make certain things stand out. So that's nice. And we have this very long axe, which looks awesome. I like how they didn't just leave it as gray plastic. They also decided to bring out some of the details by adding in some dark line work and a wash over it, which adds to the realism even here at this end. Looks very nice. I will say though that when you insert this into the gripping hand, it is kind of looser than I'd like it to be. You can spin it around and stuff. It's not the tightest grip, but it will do, I guess, for your shots. And measuring him while he's asleep, we can see that Strange stands at about 6¼ inches to the top of his head and closer to 6½ inches at the top of his cloak. And for size comparisons, here's Strange next to some other figures like the Marvel Legends Doctor Doom and Deadpool, the Loose Collector 13 and DC Multiverse Spawn, the Marvel Legends Black Panther and Mr. Fantastic, and last but not least, the SH Figuarts Battle on Titan Doctor Strange figure. So in conclusion, this Doctor Strange figure is actually really good. It's bright, nice to look at, fun to pose, and comes with a good number of accessories. Honestly, the only things to complain about on my copy are the gummy legs and the mist paint apps on the cloak, which I'll want to replace in the future maybe. Other than that, at 1,700 to 1,900 pesos, this figure can be worth the price, but is also quite close to the borderline in my opinion. This is perfect for those that aren't big enough Strange fans to get the Mezco, but still want a definitive Strange in their collection. So what do you guys think? Is this classic Strange as good as the other classic characters we have like Iron Man, Cap, and Thor? Let me know in the comments down below and like and subscribe while you're at it. Share this with your friends and be good people, I guess. These legs may be from an older body. What? So maybe that's why they kind of feels First, let's start with the hands. He comes with two extra pair of hands. What?